hi everyone, myself Dr. P.S. Babu, working as Professor and Head EC Department. So in this video, I am going to discuss about the condition for minimum attenuation and the loading of lines. Condition for minimum attenuation and loading of lines. So here we know the attenuation of a line is expressed by attenuation constant alpha, and we know that alpha is equal to is the root of 1 by 2 into Rg minus omega square Lc plus root of R square plus omega square L square into G square plus omega square C square. So it's nothing but the attenuation constant, where alpha depends upon the four primary constants R, L, C, G. So here you can find out the condition for minimum attenuation for alpha for inductor, capacitor, conductance and resistance value. So first we will see the one by one. So first one is the value of L for minimum attenuation, the value of inductor for minimum attenuation. So while determining the value of L for minimum attenuation, it will be assumed that the other three line constants C, G and R including omega are constant. We need to keep that. So here we are finding the condition for minimum, finding the value of L for minimum attenuation. While finding the L value for minimum attenuation, we need to keep the C value, Z value, R value and omega value. All these four values are constants. So differentiating the above equation of alpha or attenuation constant with respect to L and equate it to 0, then we can get the minimum attenuation condition. So here d alpha by dl. So here we have a root x is there. So root x is there. So root x will becomes, if you differentiate the equation, so it is half into x power minus 1 by 2 into again dx. So using this formula, before it is half into 1 by x into and differentiation of x is here. Therefore using that formula, it is half into 1 by 2 into Rg minus omega square Lc plus R square plus omega square L square into G square plus omega square C square into, we need to differentiate this equation again. If we need to differentiate the equation again, we have a differentiation of x again. So differentiation of x means here the differentiation of the first part is the differentiation of Rg minus omega square Lc. Rg minus omega square Lc. So these two are constants 0, and here we need to differentiate the equation minus omega square L minus omega square C into dl by dl. Therefore we have minus omega square C, and again here we have root x is there. So again root x, for root x half into 1 by x into dx, half into 1 by x into dx. Therefore half into, it is 1 by x is root of R square plus omega square L square into G square plus omega square C square into differentiation of this one. So differentiation of this one is, here it is 2. So differentiation of this one is, here we need to differentiate the equation. First one is, this one is constant. So therefore G square plus omega square C square is constant. G square plus omega square C square into, so here we need to differentiate this one. R square is constant. Therefore R square is 0. Therefore omega square into L square. Therefore that part is G square plus omega square C square into omega square into here we have L square. Differentiation of L square. Differentiation of L square is 2L into dl by L. Therefore it is 2L omega square. 2L omega square. So here we need to equate this total equation to 0. If we equate the equation to 0, then we have particular this part. Numerator is equal to 0. We can equate the numerator part to 0. If we equate the numerator part to 0, then we have 2 omega square L into G square plus omega square C square by root of R square plus omega square L square into G square plus omega square C square minus omega square C is equal to 0. Then we can equate the equation to 0. It is omega square L into, it is G square plus omega square C square by, it is root of R square plus omega square L square into G square plus omega square C square is equal to omega square C. Just we need to cross multiply the equation. So cross multiply the equation and cancel the terms. So here if we before cross multiply the equation, here we can modify the equation. Therefore it is omega square L into it is root of g square plus omega square c square by, it is r square plus omega square L square, which is equal to omega square c. Omega square cancel each other on both sides. Therefore, we have L into root of g square plus omega square c square equal to c into root of r square plus omega square c square. Just square on both sides. If you square on both sides, it is L square into g square plus omega square c square is equal to c square into r square plus omega square L square. Omega square L square. If you simplify the expression, L square g square plus L square omega square c square is equal to c square into r square plus omega square L square c square. Omega square L square c square, omega square L square c square cancel on both sides. Therefore, we have L square g square is equal to c square r square, or Lg is equal to, we can write Rc, Lg equal to, we can write Rc. Therefore, L is equal to, we can write Rc by Z. L is equal to Rc by Z. We have L equal to Rc by G, Henries per kilometer. So, this is a minimum value of L, minimum value of L, or minimum value of L to get the, at the value of L to get the minimum attenuation. It is a minimum value of L to get the minimum attenuation. Similarly, we can find the value of C for minimum attenuation. To find the value of C, so here we have the R, we have the other conditions, R, L, G and omega. We need to keep all these four values constant. When we are finding the condition for C, value of C for minimum attenuation, we need to keep resistor, inductor, conductance and angular frequency. All these four will be constant. If C is varied, while other three constants R, L, G including omega are assumed to be constant, and the same result will be arrived by differentiating alpha with respect to C, and if we equate it to 0. Therefore, the condition is, after equating to 0, we have G by C is equal to R by L. Again, from this equation, we can write C is equal to G into L by R. Farads per kilometer. Farads per kilometer. So, this is a minimum value of C to get the minimum attenuation, or the value of C, the value of capacitance to get the minimum attenuation. This is the value of capacitance to get the minimum attenuation. So, here the value of R and G for minimum attenuation. We need to find out the value of R and G for minimum attenuation. If either R or G is the only variable, no minimum is found by differentiating and equating to 0. So, however, when R equal to 0 and G equal to 0, the attenuation constant alpha is 0. Therefore, R and G both should be kept as small as possible to get the minimum attenuation. I repeat once again, if either R or G is only a variable, no minimum is found by differentiating and equating to 0. So, when already we assume that for distortionless line, R equal to 0 and G equal to 0, then the attenuation constant alpha is also equal to 0 for distortionless line. Therefore, to keep the minimum attenuation, we need to choose the R and G values should be as small as possible or as low as possible. Next, loading of lines. Next concept is the loading of lines. So here, what is meant by loading? Introduction of inductance in series with the line. Introduction of inductance in series with the line is called the loading of a line. So, loading of a transmission line. So, here, what is the effect of loading on a transmission line? So, here, if we add the inductance to the inductance in series with the line. So, here, as frequency increases, the loading effect, the attenuation increases. If we increase the loading, or if we add the loading, when we increase the frequency, then the attenuation constant increases. So, here, for minimum or for better propagation, we need to keep that the attenuation should be as low as possible. So, to get the minimum attenuation, here we need to decrease the loading of a transmission line. If loading of a transmission line decreases, automatically attenuation decreases, then you can have the better propagation or better results at the output. So here there are different types of loading. So there are mainly three types of loading: continuous loading, patch loading, and lumped loading. So we'll discuss one by one. Continuous loading. So here loading is done by winding a type of iron around the conductor. Let us assume some iron bar is there. For iron bar, so here we will wind the wire. So here the loading is done by winding a type of iron around the conductor. Let us assume it is iron conductor. For iron conductor, we will wound some wire. So this increases the inductance, but it is expensive. It increases the inductance value, but it is more expensive. Then the other type of loading is patch loading. So this type of loading uses sections of continuous loaded cable separated by sections of unloaded cable. Just like it is a conductor is there. So some part of the conductor is loaded, some part of the conductor is winded, then it is some constant, then it is loaded like this, then it is some constant like that. So this is the type of patch loading. So in different patches we will wind the cable. So here this type of loading uses sections of continuous loaded cable separated by sections of unloaded cable. Hence the cost is reduced compared to the continuous loading. Then whatever the third one is? Third one is a lumped loading. So here loading is introduced at uniform intervals. Let us assume in previous patch loading, no need to require a uniform intervals. So whereas in lumped loading, so here we need to add we need to wind the conductor in uniform intervals. So here loading is introduced at uniform intervals. It may be noted that the hysteresis and eddy current losses are introduced by loading, and hence the design should be optimal. So while loading the conductor using lumped loading, then we may have the hysteresis and eddy current losses. So to avoid those losses, we need to design the conductor as an optimum. We need to choose the design considerations as optimum to minimize the losses, eddy current losses and hysteresis losses. So here the intervals should be, these intervals should be uniform while winding the conductor. So this is about the lumped loading. So these are the different types of loading of a transmission line. Okay, thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.